Look like we good.
Yeah.
Everything all good. All right. So we back at it. I know y'all expecting beat economy, but this is not beat economy. This is the beat tape breakdown. So we're gonna jump into it. Salute to everybody who's been holding on. Everybody who bared with us while we went through these little few glitches. Like anything, there's always some glitches with technology. But yeah, we here. Some of y'all heard of MIDI Monsters. You heard of in the battles. He was in the battle this past weekend. He's in battles in the past. 2020, won some battles, lost some battles. That's the nature of the beat battle thing. But regardless of win or lose, he dropped a project called the DEFCON 7, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're gonna jump into DEFCON 7. We're gonna figure it out, find out what it's all about. What's the mystique behind the magic behind the mystique. We're gonna play some beats, some tracks off of the beat tape, and we also just gonna chop it up, get a sense of where it's all, what inspires it all, what influences it, where it's coming from, what people can look forward to, and all that jazz. So to jump right into it, if I'm clear, you're from ATL, but you're originally from Texas.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Actually, I'm there. I'm from a small town like right outside of Dallas called Carthage.
Carthage.
But
Okay.
I ended up moving to Houston like in my later years, and as of last year, I want to say March, I ended up moving to Atlanta.
All right, let's get into the first beat, and then we're gonna jump back on it, chop it up a little bit more. We got a whole hour, so people can definitely stay tuned. First up, we're gonna drop "Off with His Head." Now, I believe this is a beat you played in a battle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. It
Okay.
is. Yeah.
All right, let's drop this beat, and then we're gonna come back in and chop it up. Off with his head, pun intended.
Hold up.
Dope, dope, dope. Now, all the tracks are a minute, or you shortened a minute for battle purposes?
Um, Pretty much all of them were a minute because the majority of them
Right.
came from like the stuff that I was doing in battles.
Okay. Okay. All right. With that being said, because there's a lot of people often ask and wonder, and they throw questions about it. Um, Battle beats versus song beats. How do you attack both of them? Do you use them as one and the same? Like, how do you? What's your take on it? How do you feel about a battle beat versus song, quote unquote, industry beat?
So the difference in between them to me is the amount of detail that you put into them.
Right.
Um, you're gonna spend a little more time doing the beat battle beat because the thing is you want to make a change like every 4 bars and a drastic change like every 8 bars.
Right. Right.
So it's pretty much like thinking of how can I take these 4 bars and do something completely different with the next four.
Right. What's the strategy you use for battles? How do you approach a battle? Like what goes into the psyche when you approach a battle in general?
Um,
As opposed to
Pretty
just
much
sitting in the studio kicking it, making a beat for your boys or for whoever.
trying to find like the most ridiculous shit I can do.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's yeah. The way that I do beat battles is like um, a lot of times I look at it as a competition. So it's like, what can I do to make sure that I'm not the guy that I'm going up against out?
Right. 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 And a song. What does it take for a song beat? What's the mindset going into a song?
A lot of times it's just pretty much like just piling everything in and just arranging.
Okay. So are you
So like I may do some of the same stuff that I do in a battle.
right?
It's just that I'll scale it down a little bit.
Okay. So a song beat could become a battle beat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, a lot of times the beat battle stuff has become song.
Right. Okay. Um, inspiration. Where does what inspired? What made you want to become a producer? Where did that come from? Is it a Texas thing, or is it an Atlanta thing, or family? You got family musicians in the family?
Yeah. So whenever I was growing up, my dad, he was a funk DJ,
Okay.
and my mom, she was in a choir, and she was in like a doo-wop band.
Right.
Guess I'm kind of like showing my age because
No, it's all good.
doo-wop is old as
It's
shit.
all good. As I tell people, Quincy Jones made his smash Thriller when he was in his 50s. So age has nothing to do
Right.
with production. Maybe as a rapper because they got to see your face, but as a producer behind the scenes, age doesn't matter. You could be
Oh,
70 years old. If you could bang the pads and click them
yeah.
buttons, it can work.
Yep. As long as this shit sound relevant and it's nice. Yeah.
Right. You have any, like, other than like parents and stuff, like any people around you, rappers, producers that inspired you, got you into it?
Yeah. As far as getting me into it, I have a cousin. He was a rapper, and that kind of like spawned me into wanting to be a rapper.
Right.
And from there, like I said, I'm from a small town.
Right.
We really don't have the option. Well, we really didn't have the option to like go out and just buy beats.
Right.
So I was like, well, if I'm gonna do this shit, I'm going to do this shit.
Right.
So I pretty much just started producing from there.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to get into the Texas sound. How would you describe the Texas sound and also compared it to the Atlanta sound? So to see what kind of might have influenced some of your sounds. If it's more of a
Okay.
Texas, more is it more Atlanta, and is there a distinction between those sounds? Cause we up north we look at them as the South. We look at the South as the South, broad stroke, the South. But
Yeah.
we know regionally Texas has a flavor, Atlanta has a flavor. How
Yeah.
do you kind of feel about the different sounds of different regions?
It's interesting because Texas is like a melting pot of like everything. So you'll have like a group of beat battle producers, and you'll also have like a group of producers who make records. Like I would say a large percentage of records that are out now are mainly produced by people from Dallas or Texas.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Most of the you're saying Atlanta music is being produced by artists and producers in Texas.
Not just Texas producers, but I'm just saying like in general, like Texas producers, they're known to do everything.
Right.
The sound of Atlanta is funny because a lot of people look at it as like the cheesy stuff, but like if once you start like venturing out and going into like the different groups, there's a lot of dope producers here.
Right. Okay.
Like,
With that being said, let's jump into the next beat. This is called Samurai Warrior. So I'm gonna think when you have a name like Sam, it's interesting what producers call their beats. So I'm thinking this is something you definitely customize for a battle as opposed to a song. Because I can't imagine you giving an artist a beat called "Here's the Samurai Warrior." I'm thinking that's definitely a battle ready beat. But anyway, let's jump into it. Samurai Warrior, MIDI Monsters. Let's do it. Crazy. That's crazy. Um, what kind of? There's so many questions I have for you, and when I hear these beats, because I'm thinking I'm thinking of artists that I can hear rocking on it as I'm listening to it. So like how do you approach an artist? What kind of artist do you have in mind? Like how do you go about like saying this kind of beat is going to go for this kind of person. This kind of beat is going to go for that person. Or does it not work like that? How does it work for you?
Um, like I say, I'm all over the place. Sometimes it's like I just do random shit and it ends up molding into like a record. And other times it's just like I just do experimental shit.
Right. Right. So you don't necessarily say, all right, this beat here is a Tiger beat. This is a Drake type
no.
beat. None of that. No tight
No.
beats. What's your take on tight beats in general?
I absolutely have nothing against it. Actually, I love producers who do tight beats.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just not my approach.
Right. You think it is there's a negative connotation to a tight beat per se, or it's just
I want to say now a lot of people, and well, in my opinion, it seems like a lot of people do look down upon tight beats. But it's like if you cater a beat for a specific artist, why not put it out there for that particular artist? Or there's gonna always be somebody who's looking for a Tiger type beat or a Drake type beat.
Right. Okay. Let's get into the methods. Now, a lot of producers, many producers, they gotta have a sip of this, they gotta have a smoke of that. What gets you into the zone to produce? Beat, battle beat, song beat? Like, you gotta get in the zone, you gotta have Cheetos, you gotta have a blunt, you gotta have Henny cup. Like what gets you in that zone of creating?
Actually, I do my best work sober.
Okay. All right. Give us some experiences when you weren't sober. What came out of that?
Oh shit. I couldn't even tell you. Because I like usually
that got deleted real quick.
Yeah, I check it the next day and I'm like, oh, fuck this shit.
Right. I better stay sober next time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good. Now this is volume 7. Give us a little background on what volume 1, 2, 6, or did you just jump in straight out the gate, number 7?
Actually, the reason why I called it DEFCON 7 is because you got to give me a minute to think about it.
Right.
So, there's different levels to, what is a world threat, so whatnot.
Right.
And I think DEFCON 7 is like the lightest.
Gotcha.
So it's going to be a series going from, the lightest to the strongest.
Okay. And this kind of embodies that.
Yeah.
Okay. How much tracks is on it altogether?
It's a total of 10.
Okay. All right. So we right on the money. We're going to get a preview of the whole shebang tonight. Shout out to Iron Blackheart, Team Solo, Miss Amanda Kane. Let's jump into the third track. It's called Never Stop. I see Flames emoji beat in brackets. Is that a collab track?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Salute to Flames emoji representing New York. Let's jump into this Never Stop beat.
Mouse gang, bitch!
All right. That was another heat rock. I'm trying to think. What's the time commitment to putting this together? Because some of these tracks sounds very elaborate, like layered. So, give us a time estimate on an average beat. Some people I know can bang a beat out in an hour, some a day, some a week.
Mhm.
So, what's it like for you?
It varies. It just depends on what I'm doing at the time. Like there's been tracks that I've done in a matter of 5 to 10 minutes, and then there's others that I've taken anywhere from a week to 2 weeks to hell, even a month or two.
Wow, for one track.
Yeah.
Okay, is that for that's? I'm gonna assume that's not battle beat. That's like industry song. You have a specific artist in mind, kind of beat.
Actually, battle beats.
Oh, battle beats a month. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy. That's a commitment. Do you find a certain region you get more kind of attraction, I should say, like a specific region that's more feeling your style, or is it just anybody, everybody?
It is crazy because like I am from the South.
Right.
A lot. I get a lot of people from the South that like what I do, but also I notice a lot of like East Coast people love what I do too.
Right. I could definitely hear East Coast vibe into all that I've heard so far. I could definitely see East Coast vibe into, especially what's going on in New York and even Toronto, overseas, the UK, because their sound is kind of, well, that's a whole nother topic with the drill thing, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of correlations with what's going on over here, what's going on over there. Equipment wise, what's the weapons of choice? What's the arsenal? What's the arsenal look like?
Right now, I'm just pretty much down to FL Studios. I was operating on a Roland SB 404, but
Okay.
I ended up getting rid of it because now I pretty much can do everything that I was doing in there on FL.
Right. That's the changes of the game. Like a lot of producers came in hardware. You had to have the MPC, you had to have the Triton. If you didn't have that, you weren't a real producer. And now everything you could do on the hardware, you can basically do on the software, and I guess even more.
Bro, I started out on a program called My Plug Tracker.
My Plug Tracker. Okay.
Yeah. And that shit is if you look at it, you'll be like, what the fuck is this shit?
Right.
'Cause,
Can you
yeah,
make a hit
it-
Can you
it's
make a hit
super good.
record out of it? Is the question.
Making a hit record out of it, no, but it allowed me to get comfortable with producing though.
Right. So it's like the entry level.
Yeah,
It was the Casio keyboard for other producers.
pretty much, yeah.
Right. Okay. All right, let's jump into the next one called Blackout, Chris Wells. So you have a lot of collab beats, correct, on this?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to shout those producers out. So Lone Star Music, shout out to Lone Star Music. He co-produced the Samurai Warrior, Flames
Yeah.
Emoji Beats.
Lone Star is he's a Grammy producer. He's worked with the likes of S1 and
Right.
Eminem, and recently on I want to say this most recent project Eminem put out.
Right.
He produced a record for him and Drake.
Okay. That's dope. I mean, two heavyweights right there. Toronto's own, and then, of course, Eminem, in many people's eyes, the GOAT. So, that's all good. All right, let's jump. And Chris Wells. So that was the Samurai Warrior. This one is featuring Chris Wells. Anything you want to add on Chris Wells? Co-production?
Yeah, this dude is just ridiculous, man.
Right. Okay, let's jump right into it. Blackout, MIDI Monstaz, and Chris Wells. Crazy. Salute for the co-production, Chris Wells. Dope job. How do you pick producers to work with? How does it happen? Like, what's the process of you deciding to work with a producer, them deciding to work with you? You know,
Yeah.
just being from the same region. Like, what's the connection like? How does that work?
But with the majority of these people, they're all from like different areas. Like I'm real picky about who I work with. And in order for me to work with somebody, I have to feel like they're like 10 times better than me.
Interesting. And how do you find them?
Mainly the majority of them has been through beat battles and like producer showcases.
Okay, that's crazy. What else can you tell us about the region, Atlanta? You know, we want to know what's next. What's popping in Atlanta? What's the wave? What's people feeling like? Are they getting tired of the sound that's out right now? They looking for another sound, a new sound, or is there a new sound already kind of bubbling under the scenes in Atlanta?
As of right now, I think everything is pretty much like good where it's at. If it's selling, you know, I don't think they're going to change the formula until, you know, somebody decides, hey, well, we need to start doing something different.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, the sound is what you hear on the radio.
Right. The status quo, pretty much. No matter where you go, it's pretty much the same 10 songs you hear in North Carolina, you hear in Atlanta, you hear in LA, you hear in Toronto. So it's kind of like the status quo, the same 10 songs that rotate. So I guess the sound is kind of influenced by that. The vision for the tape was the tape inspired to add any extra sauce to what's going on, or kind of just, you know, kind of the same vein, but your take on it?
Actually, the beat tape was spontaneous as hell. It was just like, I was working on some music live, and I just so happened to say, you know what, I think I'm gonna put a beat tape out, and you know, like within a matter of, I'll say an hour. That it came up with like the playlist of everything.
Okay. So it's a compilation of tracks that are already done. You didn't say this is the vision and I'm going to create 10 tracks based on this idea. It was tracks that you already kind of had on the hard drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much like a lot of the stuff that I do is like extremely spontaneous.
Right. So with that being said, you probably could drop DEFCON 8, 9, 10 tomorrow. If you have, I'm sure you have a whole gang of tracks on the hard drive. I
do, but a lot of them has been shipped out.
Okay.
I'm kind of like on the fences on that, but yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, you don't want to like, matter of fact, it's interesting you mentioned that. I was just listening to a podcast yesterday of an artist with that situation. If I can remember correctly, a producer sold a non-exclusive beat, whatever the cost was, $20, $50, whatever. And then it caught attraction on TikTok. So then it starts to go viral, blows up on TikTok. Now he sells that beat on TikTok from you know, the beat becomes sold to another producer. So now the original producer who got it non-exclusively, what happens to him having the beat? Because it's his initial non-exclusive beat that took off on TikTok.
Yeah.
And now you have an actual person that bought the beat. So now who gets the legal right to it? You know, you made it hot, but you didn't have it exclusively. Someone else buys it after they see you made it hot. Now they have it exclusively, so it's kind of a weird dynamic. So I guess that's what you're alluding to. You don't want to, you know.
Don't have none of those issues, because I've seen it happen to a lot of people to where, you know, they do like the loose beats, and then somebody big ends up getting the beat, and the producer pretty much tells whoever's used it prior to, just because of the lease, you got to stop using it.
Right. The person who bought the exclusive tells the non-exclusive they got to stop using it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of like cease and desist go out.
Right. I can only imagine, man. Especially in the world of production, I can only imagine, because that's been going on. I can't remember who it was with Lloyd Banks, but Lloyd Banks had a situation like that. It's a song that became big. I can't remember off the top which song it was, but there was a song that it might have been Bobby Smyrna. I think it was Hot Nigga Bobby Smyrna. I believe that was a Lloyd Banks beat, and somehow it exchanged hands. I think Diddy and Drake had something like that too with 0 to 100. I think Diddy wanted that beat at one point, and then That's the game with production. So producers, they got to be mindful of that. The whole non-exclusive thing, it sounds dope in theory because you can sell the same beat 1,000 times. But, if it comes to that artist or anybody liking it and buying it outright, then it can become an issue. Not even just the money, but your reputation, because people don't want to mess with you because they know that's the kind of business you do. So let's jump into the next track called Unconditional. I don't see any collabs, so this one is MIDI Monstaz 100%. Let's jump right into it.
MIDI Monstaz.
Very dope, very dope, very dope.
Appreciate it.
I'm hearing a lot of heat on this. Question: Have
Yes,
you
sir.
ever sold a beat that in your mind was whack, but the artist effed with it and off the sale went?
Yes. It's basically like around the time whenever I first started.
Right.
Yeah, they were like, it was a couple people who had bought like, some that I still to this day I wouldn't like let nobody hear.
Wow. But somebody bought it.
Yeah.
Okay. Ever make you feel away like maybe you can send them another beat or whatever? Or it's like, hey, you want it? No problem.
It's usually the issue like, you sure this is what you want?
Okay.
All right, cool. Well,
Okay.
That's how you feel. You can have it.
Right. Is it a brand thing? Because I'm not a producer per se, but I would feel a way giving anybody a beat that I didn't feel was up to par, because that's also your brand attached to that.
Yeah.
So how much does that come into play when a situation like that comes up?
Like I say now, you're probably not gonna get anything from me that I feel like is less than, because I like you say, it's a branding situation and you don't want your brand to be tarnished by putting out weak music.
Right. Indeed. Okay. Let's jump into the next track. We got Spartan. This is co-produced by Risco Funk. We want to shout out Risco Funk on the co-production. Anything you want to add on Risco Funk? From the region? He's from the area?
He's actually from Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. We pretty much came up in the beat battle ranks together.
Right. Okay. Let's see what
he was like one of the first producers that I met whenever I moved to Houston.
Okay. When you moved to so how far is Dallas from Houston for those that ain't familiar with the state?
It's like 3.5 hours, just depending on who's driving, because sometimes it can be 2.
Right. Okay. Let's jump into Spartan real quick. Co-produced by Risco Funk. Let's do it.
Spartans! What is your profession?
interesting. Very interesting. I was actually watching that movie not too long ago on repeat. So that's an interesting part to chop and
Yeah.
get into the beat. Give me a wild story in the production realm, something that people wouldn't expect that happened working with an artist in the studio. Just a wild story, making a beat in the studio with an artist.
Mm. Oh, there's so many, man. Oh my God, it's so many. Yeah, there's been instances where, you know, I've gone into studios with people and didn't know if I was gonna make it back home.
Oh wow. Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
just because of the nature of who they were, the entourage, the crew.
the entourage, man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then there's also been instances where, you know, you'll get the artist who feels like they know what they want to do, but
Right.
once you start recording and working with them, they start getting extremely indecisive.
Mm.
I've had instances where, and this is like back in my younger days,
Right.
where the house that I lived in, everybody called it the frat house
Mm-hmm.
because
That's
we
where
had
that's where it goes
everything.
down. That's where it goes down.
Yeah. So whenever the strippers would leave the club, they would come to our house.
Okay. Hey, it's ATL. It's all good.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
Right. That's it. That's crazy that you feel your life would be threatened just by artists. That's so ATL is about that life.
Actually, that was in Houston.
Oh, that's in Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
We in J Prince land. Okay.
Yeah.
All good.
Well, you know, I'm a homebody and kind of an introvert.
Right.
And,
As
you know,
as are many producers.
Yeah. I don't like to be around, you know, a lot of villainous like individuals.
Got you.
And yeah, whenever I first started, that's pretty much all I was dealing with.
Okay. Got you. All right. Next up, we got Gates of Glory. We're going to jump into Gates of Glory real quick. And this is track number 7 off the tape. This is the DEFCON 7 tape, MIDI Monstaz. Let's jump right into it. That's a slapper. That's another slapper.
Appreciate it.
Is there artists you have in mind for that track in particular? What kind of artists do you have in mind for something like that?
Actually, it was for demo of the DEFCON 7 drum kit.
Okay, okay, okay. Shout out
So
to.
it
Oh, go ahead.
wasn't really like anybody in particular in mind. It was just
Right.
I was just trying to fill it out just so you kind of get a feel for the pack.
Right, right. And of course, there's a lot more lanes to get music to other than just rappers, as we have in the comments. Miss Amanda Kane saying that
Oh,
would work.
fact.
That would work dope in a commercial. So that's always, and I could hear that in something other than just a rapper. Like that just takes your mind in a zone. You kind of zone out to a beat like that. So it probably would do well in a commercial or some kind of visual.
Some kind of sync, yeah.
Right, right. All right. As we wind down, we're gonna get into swang. That already sounds dope. Just the title of it, swang. All right, this is track 8 off DEFCON 7. We in tune. We locked in with MIDI Monstaz, ATL Zone by way Texas, Dallas' own. So we're gonna lock in. This is track 8 called Swang.
MIDI Monstaz.com.
That's another crazy one. It seems the tape, as you get further down the tape, it gets a little bit more mellow, but it becomes a lot more. It's lounge. It's like lounging music, but still extremely dope. So it's like it's a total flip of sound, but still extremely dope, even though the style kind of changed.
Yeah. So the inspiration behind that one pretty much came from like being in Houston.
Okay.
Like one of the biggest things right now, well, I can't say right now, but one of the biggest things in Houston was being in this area called MLK.
Okay.
MLKs on Sundays is like where people will pull out their slabs, which are like the cars with like the rims is poking out.
Right.
And everybody just like
the candy
swinging
paint, the candy
paint swinging in and out of lanes and shit like that.
Right.
But yeah, that pretty much like was my inspiration for that because it kind of has like the slow feeling,
right?
And it also sounds like some screw music for me.
Okay. I think King T West Coast had a track called Swang or something like that back in the day, which was along those lines of the candy paint, 20 inches rims and all that. So yeah, salute for that. We got two more tracks we're gonna get to, and we also want to touch on real quickly about Bounce Gang and a little bit about the publishing, because you make music, publishing goes right in sync with that, copyrights go right in sync with that. So we're gonna play the next track, then we're gonna touch base on the publishing side, and then we'll get back to the final track, the end. All right, so this is the 9th track. This is called Blase. Anybody remember back in the day there was a track called Blase Blase when the East is in the house?
Oh my God.
Let's jump into this one real quick. Blase, 9th track off of DEFCON 7. MIDI Monstaz out now. Let's get it. Blase. Maybe we could make the 2021 edition. Oh,
Hey man, I'm for it.
right. That needs to come back. I don't think they made. I haven't heard them really drop any other music other than that hit back in the day. But it'd be dope for have them to bring that back to life and put a new twist on it.
Yeah, that shit was crazy, man.
Let's get into publishing real quick. Copyrights, what you got going on with that, how that's helping you with the project in general, and anything that other producers might need to know about or want to connect with you about as it relates to publishing or copyright and whatnot.
Yes. So yeah, if you're making any music of any sorts and you own a portion of it, you need to be getting your publishing in order. My company is Bounce Gang. We do everything from distribution. We do the same stuff that a DistroKid do, except for the fraction of the price. We're only like $9.99 for distribution, and we connect to different areas as opposed to having to, sign up for DistroKid and having to do like the additional add-ons for like to get your stuff in different stores. We do all that for you in Pub Admin. Yeah, like I say, if you have a song out, you should be collecting all royalties on it, whether it be mechanical or performance. What we do is we work with the different companies like the MLC, Music Reports, Sound Exchange, all that, and yeah, we make sure that you get all that.
Okay.
A lot of people, they're leaving mechanical royalties on the table because they just don't understand. They don't know that you're entitled to it. But yeah, that's it's a lot of money that you're missing.
Right. And there's also the black box. All the money that doesn't get recouped at the end of a year, that just
Fair.
disappears and goes into somebody else's pocket. So and that happens every year for like the last 100 years. So,
But I'm sorry to cut you off,
No, go
but
ahead.
it's going to be hard for that to happen now that the MLC is taking place, because it's pretty much like a government ran entity to where like they're going to go into each song and figure out who is a part of that song and make sure that that person get their money.
Right. Okay. Yeah, producers need that a lot more, and just the education of it. Like, a lot of producers are just not. It's cool to be in a battle. We always love to have new producers on the platform, but you definitely are doing yourself a disservice if you solely want to battle and don't want to spend any time learning the business of it. Copyrights, publishing, bare minimum. ASCAP, BMI, if you're in Canada, SOCAN and whatnot. I can't remember the one over in London, but
If I think it's a CSAC.
CSAC? No, so CSAC is US. There's one.
CSAC is the one that's like invite only. My bad.
Yeah. That's a private corporation, but there is one overseas. I think it's FRO or something like that. That deals with the London.
PRS. It's one. It's a lot of. Oh yeah, and like Dramatic said, make sure your metadata is
Right.
key on whatever you're doing.
On your
'Cause
file so they can track it.
correct.
Yeah, trace it back to the owner. All right, let's wind down. We got one more track off of the beat tape. It's called DEFCON 7. This track is called The End, appropriately titled, and it's a co-production with Joni Fuller. This is a female producer?
Actually, she is a violinist.
Okay.
She was a part of the Phil Collins Symphony.
Okay.
Yeah, and she worked with output with a arcade pad too.
Okay. Very dope. So yeah, it's not just a male thing. There's females all over production. Some you might be familiar with, some you might not be. But we're gonna feature one right now, co-produced with MIDI Monstaz, and this beat is called The End. DEFCON 7 beat tape out now. Make sure you check that out. You can contact MIDI Monstaz at midi.monsters on IG.
Actually, it's all together, MIDI Monstaz.
Oh, it's all one, no dot?
No.
Okay, my bad. Take out the dot.
No,
Just
I
MIDI Monstaz.
think the dot is on here though, on Twitch.
Okay. I put the dot in the chat, but we'll just remove that. So MIDI Monstaz, all one word, no dots, no spaces, none of that. All right. This beat is called The End, co-produced with Joni Fuller. Very dope. If I might ask, who was on the keys with that one?
Me.
That was you? Okay. What elements did Joni add to the sauce?
She did the violins.
Okay. Very dope. So that was the DEFCON 7 beat tape. This is MIDI Monstaz. We locked in as we said we would. Give you the whole breakdown on not just hearing one beat here and one beat there. But we want to know what's the method behind the madness? Who are these producers? Dropping these masterpieces, and getting a sense to know who you are, because for the beat battles online, we don't get to see a face. We don't really get to feel who the person is, understand who the person is. So this is a chance to just go to the next step of hearing a beat in a beat battle, win or lose, but just to explore and dive a little bit deeper into getting to understand the individual producer, or it could be a group. Up next, we got a group coming up. But for right now, this is MIDI Monsters. Tape is out now. It's called DEFCON 7. My name is Clifton. This is the beat tape breakdown, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so with the Pyros, Toronto's own. But any last words, MIDI Monsters?
Hey, man, appreciate you for having me on. Shout out to the entire staff of Battle of the Beat Makers. Shout out to Bounce Game. Yeah, love and peace to everybody.
All right. And once again, if you want to contact MIDI Monsters, you can do so on IG at MIDI Monsters, all one word, MIDIMONSTAZ, no dots, no spaces. All right. We signing off until the next breakdown, which will be coming up in about 10, 15 minutes. So just lock in, and we'll be back shortly. All right. Salute.